Welcome to the Book Party Podcast.
Join us as we journey into the world of books with Michael T.
Prepare to be captivated by engaging interviews, insightful discussions, and fascinating stories. You'll discover new adventures and gain insight into the creative process of the authors themselves as they share their struggles and accomplishments. Now let's hear from Michael T.
This is Michael T. Welcome, dear listeners, to another episode of the Book Party Podcast, where we explore remarkable stories and journeys of authors who have touched our hearts with their words today. We have the privilege of introducing you to a truly extraordinary author, Farah, and her captivating book, Memoir and Me. Farah, a British national with an Indian heart, has a story that resonates deeply with her multicultural identity. Born in the vibrant city of London and raised in the diverse tapestry of North India, Farah effortlessly embraces the different facets of her heritage. With a career spanning over 30 years in the ever-evolving banking industry across continents, she now calls Dubai her home, but Farah's story is much more than her professional accomplishments. At the heart of Memoir and Me is a tale of an unconventional life, a journey marked by courage and a path illuminated by the profound lessons of nature, nurture, and the skills acquired along the way. Farah's journey of self-discovery was born from a place of profound loss, the untimely passing of her beloved mother, Memoir. In the face of this devastating tragedy, Farah sought answers to life's mysteries and the delicate balance between life and death. The book delves into the depths of Farah's soul as she grapples with the unthinkable. A phone call in the dead of night shattered her world with the words, "Your mother has been shot. We are taking her to the hospital. You have to come home quickly." These words initiated a profound transformation within her, and Memoir and Me is a poignant memoir of the mother-daughter relationship that defined her existence through the pages of this memoir. Farah takes us on a powerful journey through her struggles, moments of despair, relentless pursuit of meaning. She confronts the idea of choosing her life's lessons and grapples with the unique challenges that life throws her way. It's a narrative that examines the complexity of human existence, the profound connection between mother and daughter, and the resilience within each of us. As we listen to Farah's story, we are invited to share her triumphs and tribulations, her moments of vulnerability, and the profound strength she discovered within herself. Her journey leads us to a place of equanimity and understanding, offering a beacon of hope for anyone seeking solace in the face of adversity. Memoir and Me is more than just a memoir. It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit through her memoirs and the lessons life has dealt her. Farah shares something profound with us, something we can take from her journey and apply to our own lives. So, dear listeners, prepare to embark on a transformative journey as we delve into the pages of Memoir and Me and explore the depths of Farah's soul. It touches a story that will touch your heart, inspire your spirit, and remind you of the incredible strength within us all. Stay tuned for an insightful and moving conversation with the author herself, Farah, right here at the Book Party Podcast. So, Farah, why don't you take it from here, fill in any of the blanks, and tell us, our listeners, a bit about yourself.
Hi, Michael. Thank you for that. That was a very descriptive introduction, which hopefully will give your listeners some insights into me, my background, where I come from, and the story they would read, hopefully. So to start at the beginning, I'm a Parsi by faith. We're Zoroastrians, so the ancient Persians. And for you to be considered a Parsi, typically both parents have to be Parsis. So both my parents were Parsis. My mother grew up in India and met my father at a wedding. They fell in love, got married, and my father was living in London. So my mother came to London, which is where I was born. And then when I was 4 years old, my mother and I went for a holiday back to India to see my maternal grandmother. And through a series of circumstances and sort of decision points, my mother decided to stay on in India and start separating from my father. And that's kind of how I came to be brought up in North India. So I'd gone there with a very British accent, not speaking the language. And slowly, as the time elapsed and we realized we weren't going back, I was put in school in India. My mother put me in the school she went to. I learned the language. I learned how to navigate this town that I grew up in the city, which was alien to me when I first arrived. And today it's home as much as anywhere is. You know, London's home, India's home, Dubai's home. But it gave me this very, very rich upbringing, which perhaps I didn't appreciate as fully at the time as a child. But today it gives me my values and my foundation, which is where I refer to my heart as Indian, because my values and my core are as a result of that upbringing. And I happen to live in Dubai now, so it's allowed me to be able to travel between geographies and cultures and straddle them with ease whilst retaining the core of who I am, regardless of where I happen to be. So that's a little bit which hopefully fills in the gaps.
Wow. So on your publishing journey for your memoir, did you go through the self-publishing route or find an agent route or something in between, like a hybrid publisher? What type of route did you take to do your publishing?
I think first and foremost, it wasn't a very straight road, shall we say. So originally I thought I would go the traditional publishing route. So I reached out to a number of publishers and a number of agents and just, you know, the network that is out there, and got as many rejections back or as many sort of yes, but, you know, change the story or pivot the focus, and a lot of suggestions, all great. And I tried, you know, these are all people who are experts in their field, so I tried to incorporate some of the ideas, but I couldn't get the story to flow the way they were suggesting. So then I sort of pressed pause for a little bit. And then I thought, okay, let me explore hybrid publishing. I wasn't still fully on board with perhaps going solo on the self-publishing route. So I thought, let me try hybrid publishing. And I reached out to hybrid publishers and got a few offers. But again, something in the mix didn't quite work itself through for me. So again, pressed pause for a little bit. And then was talking to a friend who had worked with an editor on a book that he had written and said, why don't you speak to the editor, who happened to be in America? Spoke to the editor, who said he could help me self-publish, but part of what I wanted to also achieve was to give the book life, right? To give it a fighting chance of success. So I wanted to be able to promote it a little bit. And the gentleman who helped edit my book, Rodney Miles, introduced me to this company called Prestinely. It's run by these two ladies. It's a boutique marketing firm. And they helped me position the book and promote the book. So it's a little bit self-publishing with, if you like, some additional help to make sure the book gets a fighting chance of, you know, getting out there, hopefully being read, having the message pass on, and adding value to whoever reads it.
Wow. You know, I've heard, and I didn't try it myself, but traditional publishers can take years to get your book out there. By the time you find an agent, by the time an agent finds a publisher, and then you lose control of your book because they want to say what they want it to say, not what you want it to say, and it just can become a little bit of a nightmare. And then, you know, they want to edit it their way. They want to put their cover on it instead of your cover on it, where, you know, self-publishing is the way I went for my first 3 books, and I'm on my fourth book now, and I'll be self-publishing that as well. And of course, I built a team to do what I need to do for my, editing and so forth, and my cover and everything. So formatting and whatnot. So it makes it a lot easier when I built a team to do it. And then all you got to worry about is your marketing. So, it's just a lot better that way. So in this book, take us to a point of what you would consider probably your worst author moment in writing this book.
Well, I think there's probably a couple one could choose from. I'm not an author by profession. I work in banking, as you mentioned. So what started out as a series of words that just came tumbling out of me sort of took form, and the heart of the story, if you like, with the incident surrounding my mother's demise. And then I started building the story and, reaching out to friends and family to fill in the facts for me from before I was born or any of the background. And then when I had the finished product, again, it was, back to how did I publish or what form this book should take. And cooking is a big part of life and my family, and just we're big foodies, and there was suggestion that maybe I bring in recipes, but it didn't really sit alongside the story as well. So, we explored lots of different options before you get to read this final product. But I think when I was writing the heart of the story, and hopefully when your listeners read the book, they'll find this one passage where it's towards, the end of my mother's life. And all I can say is it was cathartic, but the amount of tissue boxes I went through every time I would write it or revise it or read it or got feedback on it, there were just floods of tears. So I don't know if that's my worst author moment, but it was definitely a moment I remember quite clearly.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's go to what I call an epiphany moment, where you could be doing anything except for your writing. You could be driving, you could be working, you could be in the middle of the night and wake up to it. And all of a sudden, this light bulb goes off in your head, and you have an epiphany that's got to be in the book. You got to find a pen and paper and write it down right now, or it'll fade away and you'll lose it. So do you have an epiphany moment when you're writing this book?
I don't know if I had, like a big epiphany moment, but there were lots of little anecdotes that I would remember. As you say, I'd be out for a walk and I'd be listening to music, and all of a sudden, this particular incident happened and I must put it in the book. So I would sort of stop, get out the notes on my phone and take it down, and then come back and write it and revise it. So there were lots of little incidents that came back, and also just talking to, family, they would say, do you remember this when this happened, to add into the book. So there were lots of little things that I hadn't perhaps included straight up, and then through the series of going over and revising and reading and rereading and reliving the memories and just going through photographs and, looking at things, there were lots of little incidents that I've included in the book that came up through that journey.
Yeah, a lot of people nowadays, what they've done, and I honestly, I'm a little old school, so I haven't even figured out how to do this yet, is they use their phone, like when they're out for walks or when they're driving, to take notes, and they just talk it into their phone real quick. And I don't do that when I'm driving because, if somebody texts me, I don't text them back. I'll worry about that later. If somebody calls me, I don't answer the phone. Well, actually, I can because it comes through the speakers in my car. But, I don't pick up my phone when I'm driving.
Same, because I wear glasses to read the phone, so I can't, and I don't wear glasses to drive, so I tend not to use my phone if I'm driving. But voice notes are quite popular. I send voice notes on communication, like WhatsApp, if I'm walking and, don't have my glasses on and it's easier to talk than to type. But for notes, I tend to type them out rather than speak them out mostly.
Yeah, well, I wear trifocals, and Try to move your head around for that one. So
Yeah.
let's go to today. What is the one thing that you are fired up about or excited about right now today?
Right now, today, I think I'm really excited to be talking to you, talking about the book, promoting the book, and just the message is spreading. And, I'm getting great feedback from people, and it validates my choice to publish the book or to go down the self-publishing route. So I'm super excited to see where it can go, how many people it can reach and touch and help, and just build a community from that. So it's something new, something I've never done before. I'm learning as I go along, and I'm meeting lots of different people along the way, which I find really interesting because I would never get to meet you if not for the podcast or the book. So I just think it's opened up a whole new world.
Great. Now, this is Michael T. We invite you to go to bookpartypodcast.com, hit that subscribe tab on top, then scroll down to the icon of your choice, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or Odyssey, where you can download and follow us there. Please leave a review. And don't forget to sign up for our video newsletter and get the latest information on our upcoming shows. Now, Farah, we're going to enter the lightning round. In the lightning round, there are 4 pointed questions for 4 pointed answers. Now, this is your first book, and it is a memoir. So, before you became an author, which now you are, and I guess you didn't have plans on becoming one, but what held you back from becoming an author in the first place?
I think perhaps I hadn't learned how to use my voice, or I didn't have my agency, or I was still processing the incident as it had happened. It means in the corporate world, I'm known for writing good emails, but I'd never considered myself an author of a book. So it was about knowing I had a story to tell and something to share that might touch other people or help other people, and to leave Mum's legacy, to let people know, as we were talking before we started recording, we're all human and things happen to all of us, the challenges for all of us. So it's to share that experience and how one can overcome things in their life. And it means I've read and I believe the universe does not send you more than you're capable of dealing with. So it's not sent to crush you, but it's there to help you garner your strength and find that strength and be a stronger version of yourself when you come through whatever the challenge is.
Okay. What was, once you started writing, what was the best advice you had ever received?
So I'd have to say it's when I wrote my first chapter, and I sent it to this lady who has created and set up the Literature Festival in Dubai, where we are. She's an English lady who lives here, and she set up the first bookshop in Dubai. And I had gone to the Literature Festival, and I reached out to her, and I just asked her to read it and tell me honestly if she thought there was any future in it, if I had a skill or I had the gift of writing. And she gave me great advice and feedback, which encouraged me to carry on writing. So I'd say that was probably the best advice I got.
Okay. Some people, that I ask that question to when they start writing multiple books, you cannot edit an empty page.
That is very true. If you're not in the game, you can't win it. So same.
You can't edit an empty page. So, and the other one is, and I can't remember who told me this, it's not coming from me, write drunk, edit sober. Just get it on there. Just write it. Don't worry about sentence structure. Don't worry about punctuation. Just get it on there. Worry about the editing later. Just get it out of your head. Get it on there. And, just type it. Don't worry about what Grammarly says. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Just get it on there and then go back and edit sober. And, put it together a little bit. And then let your professional editor or whoever you're hiring to do your editing worry about that too. Okay. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success in writing this book?
I'd like to say I'm quite disciplined. So discipline in my habits. And I think because I have a busy corporate career, I use yoga as a means to calm my mind and just to empty my mind, which then allows the creative juices to flow a little bit better. So I'd say creating a bit of structure and discipline around my day and using yoga to help me access the creative aspects.
Okay. Could you share an internet resource that you used when you're writing your book?
I can't say I did, to be honest, because I did everything for myself. It means when we say internet technology helped me connect with the editor in Florida and the ladies, one in New York, one in Lisbon. So from that perspective, technology definitely supported my publishing journey. I did a lot of Google searches when I was looking for agents and publishing houses and researching hybrid publishing models. But other than that, I pretty much did it myself.
And my entire team is from Fiverr. Everything I do is out of Fiverr. So it works out really well for me. So, Farah, we're going to enter into the grand finale. So in the grand finale, what I want you to do is take your time and tell our listeners about your book.
Thank you for the opportunity. I think at the heart of it, it's a mother and daughter relationship story, which I think everyone can relate to. Meher was my mother's name, and it's the story of my mother and myself. It's not always going to be, your relationship with your mother will change as the child grows and becomes an adult, and we had the same journey and trajectory. And when I was 18, I left home and moved to London while my mother still stayed in India. And as I became an adult and as I became a mother, you complete the cycle, so to speak, and it's that circle of life. And I understood her better. I understood her love for me as her firstborn better. And I understood some of the life choices she made, which as a child I might have questioned. I think Mum's biggest legacy was her extremely large and vibrant personality and living life on her own terms, which is something that I learn and constantly remind myself. She used to say, no matter what you do, you can't stop people talking any more than you can stop dogs barking. So just be yourself and do whatever you need to do, as long as you're acting with integrity and you're not out to hurt anyone. So I think those are aspects that I apply in life and hopefully will resonate with your listeners. And then we come to the heart of the story, as I call it, where there was the incident where my mother was shot and she survived the gunshot for 25 days and then passed away through her internal injuries and bleeding. And in that moment, in all the midst of that, she was still guiding and counseling and talking and fully aware, even though her body was, not supporting her. Her mind was completely alert and she knew what was going on, which is heartbreaking in of itself when you see someone so strong know what's happening to them physically. And then when I lost her, how do you process grief? Or, all of us will lose someone, and you don't want the manner in which someone passes to define their entire life. And it took me a while to process that grief, to remember Mum, with all her human aspects, but all her love of life and her humor and her beauty, rather than just the sort of the ending. And I carry that close with me because there's so much for me to take, because we were very different, or we are very different personalities. So I constantly remind myself, Mum would say, just do what you have to do, or don't worry about what other people are saying, or find the joy in the situation. So I think I'm hoping your listeners will enjoy the read and enjoy the story, see a different world, a different, way of living in India, get to experience that life with me. And for anyone out there who's facing a challenge in life, know that A, you're not alone, and B, if you find the tools to help you navigate it, you will get through it and hopefully come out stronger than you went into that challenge.
That's fantastic. It sounds like a great memoir. So, Farah, we thank you so much for being here with us today, opening up to us, and I'm sure our listeners appreciate this too. Again, this is Michael T. To all our listeners, I would invite you to go to bookpartypodcast.com, hit that subscribe tab on top, and scroll down to the icon of your choice, where you can find us on one of your favorite platforms, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or Odyssey. You can download and follow us there, and please leave a review. Don't forget to sign up for our video newsletter and get the latest information for our upcoming shows. Book Party Podcast is owned and powered by MTM Legacy Publishing, LLC. This is Michael T., and we're signing off.
You must not miss our next episode as we delve into a world of inspiration, entertainment, and thought-provoking insights. Join Michael T. on the next Book Party Podcast and experience a new adventure, a new story, and a complete immersion into the world of Pages Unveiled, Chronicles of the Writing Journey.